Data is the foundation of artificial intelligence and digital transformation. That's a pretty powerful statement, and it perfectly captures why data is literally the bedrock of our modern economy. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something that is absolutely paradigm shifting.
We're looking at the anatomy of a digital transformation, specifically Nepal's hyperscale leap. For a long time, Nepal has basically had to just consume foreign cloud services, but that's changing. We're going to see how a homegrown initiative, led by a group of entrepreneurs and known as the Bichutten Data Vault, is transforming this Himalayan nation into a fully sovereign, green-first digital hub.
Okay, let's dive right in. We've got 6 main things on the agenda today: the digital sovereignty shift, gateways of international trade, engineering Tier 4 reliability, hydroelectricity and liquid cooling, attracting global tech investment, and finally, scaling to 5 megawatts.
So, starting off with part 1, the digital sovereignty shift. We're talking about taking back the cloud.
Right now, enterprises in Nepal are shelling out millions to foreign cloud providers every single year. And that money leaving the country, it's a huge factor in a trade deficit that recently hit an unbelievable 1.454 trillion rupees. So the fix here is what's called in-country data residency, basically keeping national data securely within Nepal's physical borders. The Bichutten project steps in to make sure highly sensitive stuff like banking, government, and telecom data stays put. It completely slashes that reliance on foreign servers, amps up cybersecurity, and, crucially, keeps all that capital right there in the domestic economy. And when we talk about the economic potential of doing that, get this: $1 billion. That's the estimated potential for Nepal's informal IT exports. It's huge. By building their own sovereign digital infrastructure, Nepal isn't just playing defense or trying to save a few bucks on hosting. They're going on the offensive. They're laying the groundwork for a localized ecosystem where IT services, AI training, the whole shebang can really explode.
Which brings us to part 2, gateways of international trade. Let's look at the geography of data.
We toss the word cloud around like it's this magical, invisible thing floating in the sky, right? But it actually needs a very real, very physical bedrock. Take the Chobhar site, for instance, located just about 10 kilometers outside Kathmandu. Now, historically, this publicly owned land was the Himal Cement Factory, a heavy, pretty polluting industrial site. But today, it's undergoing an amazing transformation. Right next to a massive dry port, it's becoming the home for the very first data center. It's this incredibly symbolic shift from a heavy industrial past to a sleek, modern, green-first digital future.
Then we have the second location, down in Birgunj, acting as the southern gateway. Why there? Well, it's the busiest cross-border logistics point. But more importantly for us, it's the primary entry point for international bandwidth. It literally houses the Birgunj Rexel fiber link, connecting Nepal directly to Indian carriers. So slapping a data vault right on the main path of all that international traffic, that is a brilliantly strategic move to keep latency as low as possible.
Moving on to Section 3, engineering Tier 4 reliability, this is the ultimate safety net.
To really grasp the scale of what they're building, you need to know that most data facilities in Nepal are sitting at a Tier 2 or Tier 3 standard. Jumping straight to Tier 4, that is a monumental engineering feat. Let's break down the difference. If you look at redundancy, a Tier 3 data center gives you N+1 redundancy. But Tier 4, that gives you a 2 times N+1 fault tolerance standard. What that actually means is that if a critical component fails, say the power goes out or cooling goes down, there is zero impact on the workloads. None. The system instantly reroutes. And because of that incredible fault tolerance, the maximum allowed downtime for the entire year drops from over an hour and a half to just 26.3 minutes.
And that gets us to this mind-blowing guarantee, 99.995% uptime. That is the absolute highest standard globally. And honestly, it's non-negotiable. If you're a major bank or a government system, right in the middle of a massive paperless transition, you literally cannot afford to go offline.
All right, Section 4, hydroelectricity and liquid cooling, building a green-first infrastructure.
This is where you see some really clever integration of advanced tech and natural resources. Data centers are basically giant ovens. They generate intense heat. Typically, you'd use air cooling, but that eats up a ton of energy and really struggles in the intense pre-monsoon heat of the Terai region. You end up wasting power just fighting the heat, which causes a higher power usage effectiveness, or PUE. To fix this, the Bichutten project is rolling out VVDN liquid cooling instead. Since liquids hold heat way better than air, this drastically lowers the PUE. It perfectly optimizes the thermal load even in those much warmer geographies.
And when you pair that thermodynamic engineering with this amazing fact, it's just awesome. 100% of these Bichutten Data Vault facilities are going to be powered entirely by Nepal's abundant hydroelectricity. So many data centers around the world are forced to hook up to fossil fuel grids, but this project taps into Nepal's natural water resources and their massive national goal to generate 28,500 megawatts of hydropower by 2035. I mean, that is the literal definition of sustainable, green-first tech.
That leads us to Section 5, attracting global tech investment through a multi-partner ecosystem. You don't just build a massive Tier 4 facility in a vacuum. A project like this acts as a giant magnet for foreign digital investment and top-tier global partners. It's a real powerhouse lineup. Google Cloud is a major strategic partner taking care of software and AI. You've got AMD bringing in high-performance compute processors, Micron supplying the high-density memory and storage, and, like we just talked about, VDDN managing all that complex thermal management. By teaming up like this and skipping those old silo designs, they are bringing world-class computing right to the Himalayas.
And finally, Section 6, scaling to 5 megawatts. Let's look at the 2030 roadmap.
Hyperscale infrastructure is a marathon, not a sprint. You design it to scale up as the market grows. When you map out the timeline, the Chobhar facility is set to officially fire up in August 2026 with a starting capacity of 240 kilowatts. Then, rolling into the late 2020s, the consortium has this highly ambitious plan to actually start manufacturing hardware, servers, cameras, laptops, domestically right inside Nepal. And by 2030, the big goal is to reach that ultimate scale of 5 megawatts. That is the kind of massive capacity you absolutely need to handle heavy, real-time, AI-driven analytics.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on today. As data becomes the new global currency, is your nation building its own vault? Honestly, Nepal's leap into a Tier 4, green-first, fully sovereign data ecosystem is setting an incredibly powerful example for emerging markets everywhere. By taking control of their digital infrastructure, they are quite literally taking control of their economic future. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope this gave you a really clear, structured look into the massive digital shifts happening right now, and I'll catch you on the next one.